How are you going to prep for your exam? You're going to do questions as we're doing up now. Practice till you get 80 to 100% correct, because the exam is harder than your practice questions. So let's get with it and practice questions and answers for national and at the end, Texas State questions. All right, so remember to stay to the end. Got a treat. Here we go. So remember to participate. Okay, we're going to go a little bit faster than normal, but participate, write your answer, the question number, and the letter answer. This is the book that we're using for the national. I usually like to share what book I'm using in case you want to purchase it. All right, so let's go to question number 41. All right, so what does 41 say? Well, it says, well, I need to enlarge the page, right? Oh, there we go. So good evening, everybody who's on here. And those of you that are watching the replay, hey, welcome to more questions and answers for national and then some Texas State. All right, what prohibits the solicitation of residential property listings? A, commingling. B, non-solicitation order. C, regulation Z. Or D, termination of tenancy. What prohibits the solicitation of residential property listings? Okay, read the question carefully. So it's talking about residential property listings. You know, what prohibits it? Good evening, Cindy. Good evening, Marcia. Awesome to see you here. So the answer here is B, non-solicitation order. Because this is an order issued to broker and agents to prevent them from soliciting listings in designated areas. So there's, you know, condominiums, HOAs, where you cannot go and solicit listings. So we have to follow the rules. Even if you happen to go through, okay, with the gate being open, you're not allowed to solicit. So the answer here is 41B. Okay, so who's the Facebook user that's on here? What is your name? Because I can't seem to see Facebook at the moment. Okay, number 42. Facebook is acting up on me. All right, what is exempt from property taxation? A, colleges. B, office buildings. C, supermarkets. Or D, unoccupied land. What is exempt from property taxation? And you might hear a sound on the background. So let's see, I've got 42A, 42D. Well, it is not. So who's that? Karen Baron. Thank you for joining us today. Hi, Franklin, and hi, Lisbeth. So the answer is actually A, colleges. Despite the fact that all properties is assessed to determine its value, universities, schools, parks, governments, institution, religious organization, churches, okay, and hospitals are exempt from property taxes. Veterans are also eligible for partial exemption from taxes, and actually up to 100% if they are 100% disabled through the Veterans Organization. So what was 41B? Okay. So, and actually churches can be built anywhere, residential, commercial zoning. You see a lot of churches in residential zoning, right? Even though zoning might say for private residences only, churches are exempt and they can pretty much build anywhere. Gosh, okay. Number 43. Gosh, I'm trying to post on Facebook and it's giving me issues. Dang it. Internet connections. All right, 43. All right, so 42 was A. Okay, 43. Which fiduciary duty is violated by commingling? A, accountability, B, disclosure, C, obedience, or D, loyalty? Which fiduciary duty violates commingling, violated by commingling? So let's see, I've got A, C. No, it is not obedience. It is accountability, right? We have to account for all monies collected, right? That's considered accountability, not obedience. So anybody who just joined, we're doing national questions that apply to all 50 states. And these classes are recorded so that you can do the replay on YouTube or on AgentPrep private group or business page. All right, number 44. What gives the government power to appropriate private property? A, right of first refusal, B, riparian rights, C, eminent domain, or D, none of the above. Government power to appropriate private property. Definitions, vocabulary, right? I stress to everyone that you've got to do vocabulary over and over and over, right? I stress that for those of you that have been with me for a while. I sound like a broken record. Did I type 43? Yes, I did. Yes, 44 is eminent domain, C. Okay, so I have a question here. It says, need help with the state portion. I failed it for the 4th time. Okay, we'll be doing state at the end. However, some of these questions here may cover vocabulary that is important for the state portion. So I recommend that you stay on here, even though these are national questions, because you know what did I say at the beginning of the video for anyone who started? How do you pass your exam? Practice, practice, practice questions till you get 80 to 100% when you're studying them. Don't just get 70. That's what you're expected at the actual exam. But those questions most of the times are harder. Okay? They are, and you never get the exact same questions. There is a pool of questions that they get for each exam. Some might be identical to your real estate exams that you study and you prep with, but don't expect that to be the case. Okay, I've had students asking me, oh, are they the same on the exam as what you're studying here? I can't guarantee you that. Maybe they will be, maybe they won't. Most of the time, you're going to see something totally different. And other times you might be lucky and see some of those that are on the old book that I, recommend a lot. Because they take questions from old books, new books, and they have a pool of questions that they pull for each exam. They're pre-made exams. And basically the ones that change is some of the state laws. National basically is the same, not a whole lot changes on national, but state laws do change a little bit, but not a whole lot. That's why we have to take legal update 1 and 2, because laws do change. Okay, so 44 was C. Okay, number 45. Come on, 45. Go to the next page. All right, 45. Oh, you can't see. Hold on. Let me see if I do it this way, if that'll help. I'm changing the, yeah, that'll help better. Okay, 45. What is the owner of a building prohibited to do regarding the disabled? A, allow the disabled to be tenants. B, make the building accessible to the disabled. C, ensure that they are treated like other tenants. Or D, refuse modification for handicapped tenants. What is the owner of the building prohibited to do regarding the disabled? And yes, awesome. 45 is D. Refuse modifications for handicapped tenants. If they refuse, the tenant that applied can take them to court, okay? And the tenant state laws are going to protect the disabled. Hi, Marcia. Thank you for joining us. Hi, Ayana. Okay, anybody just came in? We're doing national questions, okay? So number 45. Oops, let's see here. 46. What act prohibits discrimination based on disability? A, the American with Disabilities Act of 1990. B, Fair Housing Act. C, Civil Rights Act of 1886. Oh my gosh, I can't even read. The Civil Rights Act of 1866, or D, Civil Rights Act of 1964. Prohibits discrimination based on. Yes, A, the American with Disabilities Act of 1990. Okay, because on the Fair Housing Act, it has to do with handicap, right? And that was one of the 7 protected classes that was added. So this was enacted to ensure disabled people are not discriminated against and have equal rights regarding access to employment and commercial facilities. Very good. Y'all on a roll. Number 47. What is the name given to property tenure that can be terminated at any time? A, tenancy in sufferance. B, terminated tenancy. C, tenancy in common. Or D, tenancy at will. Vocabulary, vocabulary, vocabulary. Can't stress it enough, okay? To do the questions, you've got to learn that vocabulary. Let's see. Okay, so far so good. 47D says Marcia and Kevin and Lisbeth, and that is correct. Tenancy at will. They can terminate at any time, right? The other one, let's see, tenancy in common, that is for one of the 4 different types of ownership. Terminated tenancy, they terminated tenancy in sufferance is the landlord is suffering because the tenant won't leave. They're squatters. So definitions, vocabulary. Okay. All right. 48. If you have a loan of $350,000, here comes a math problem, with a 7% interest, how much do you pay in interest every month? A, $2,041, B, $2,260, C, $27,127, D, $31,208. So what does it ask? If you have a loan of $350,000 with a interest of 7%, how much do you pay interest every month? Not every year, but every month. So this is a, straight calculation, and you can use the T formula, or you can just use normal math. Oh, Kevin hates math. I love math, but I tell you what, sometimes this math on the exams, if you're not quick to answer it, hey, click it for review, come back to it later. As I mentioned, and some of the books tell you, skip the first 5 questions of every exam and the math, click them for review, write them down on a sheet of paper that you have to come back to them. I don't know how every state does it, but here in Texas, it's computerized. You can click them for review, come back to them later. Those get you nervous and stressed out. Okay, so here you've got to multiply 350. So this is the straight, interest. 350,000 times what? 0.07. So that's going to give you the total interest for the year. Now you have to divide by 12. And that's going to give you $2,041. So it is, so I'm going to type it in the answer. So 350,000 times 0.07 divided by 12 equals 2,041. Okay, so hi, Manetta Hainsworth. So that's the actual answer there. Okay, that's how you would calculate it. So look at the units. It's at every month. What is the interest every month? So you got to calculate. Interest is usually charged right for the whole year. 7% is for the whole year. And so this would be like an interest-only loan. And then you want to know how much it is per month. So you divide the whole interest for the year divided by 12. I got 10 problems on my national exam. Wow. And you know what? Some people don't get any. Isn't that interesting? And they say you're supposed to get some. But some people don't get any. And some only get 8. So don't think that there's a guarantee that you will or you will not. Just practice some of them, okay? Practice the T formula. All right, because 10 of them, that's a lot. Ooh. Come on, 49. Hey, the San Francisco 49ers. I'm for the Texas. I'm for the Cowboys, okay? We're on 49. Ah, darn it. Okay, there we go, 49. So nobody tried the math problem. Let's see. Oh yeah, we had somebody try the A. Oh, did I type the answer? It was 48A, yes, okay. So math was 48A. And see, Kevin says, so here's an example of someone that had quite a bit of math and he still passed the exam. Kevin Barron got 10 problems on his national exam, but he passed it. Awesome. And he passed it. Keep it on a positive note. And he passed it, not but. What law prohibits any type of discrimination on the basis of sex and gender? A, A, Fair Housing Act, B, Civil Rights Act of 1866, C, Civil Rights Act Amendment of 1974, or D, Americans with Disability Act? So on the basis of sex and gender. Yes, the answer is C, the Civil Rights Act Amendment of 1974. Oh, I said yes. All right. I had A, B. So it says Civil Rights Act Amendment in 1974 banned discrimination based on sex and credit in Congress, providing proceeding women being offered maternity leave on the assumption that they were unable to work was rendered illegal and sexist teaching methods were discredited. So now even husbands can take maternity leave. Okay. So that happened in 1974. So in the Fair Housing Act, right, there's 7 classes that are protected, but on the basis of sex and gender, that came into effect in the Civil Rights Act Amendment of 1974. 49. Number 50. Okay, what did I start with? 41. Okay. In 1988, the Civil Rights Act was amended to include what? A, married women, B, immigrants, C, Black people, or D, handicap and familial status. In 1988. So that was kind of the last group that was added to the 7 classes that are protected. Yes, the answer is D. Oh, wow. I said 489 is C. That's what I typed in on Facebook. Okay, so 49 was what? C. And 50 is D. All right. No problem, Cindy. You saw how I do some typos myself. 489 questions, right? All right. Number 51. What is the net income of a property valued at $500,000 and a capitalization rate of 14%? Net income. Okay, net income. So that is after all expenses, right? With a cap rate of 14%. So again, you can use the T formula, right? But you want to know what the cap rate formula is. So here you're multiplying the value of 500,000, okay, times 14%, and you're going to get 70,000. So that is the net income, okay, of a property. So the cap rate is what investors want to see. You know, what kind of income is that property bringing me? So the net value, the current value of today times a capitalization rate gives us 51A. You know, since I go really fast on these now, it's like, oh my gosh, I have to think about it and look at the answers, okay? Luckily, I'm the teacher and I get to see the answer, what is it, checklist or whatever you call it. For 52. So 51 was A, which was 70,000. 500,000 times 14%. 52. What is the name of an appointed official who estimates the value of real property for taxing purposes? So everybody's got to pay property taxes. Well, almost everybody. A, agent, B, assessor, C, appraisers, D, tax official. So who assesses the property value that is going to be taxed to everyone that lives in the residence, that owns a property? If they are 100% disabled, they will not pay property taxes. And we already saw that many properties are not, they're exempt from taxes. It is not C, not the appraiser. No, no, no. Appointed official. An appraiser is not an appointed official. An appraiser gets a license just like a realtor, but with the appraisal board. They're not an appointed official like by the governor or the county or anybody like that. So keyword, name of an appointed official who estimates the value of real property for taxing purposes. That is the tax assessor. Okay, tax assessor. And they go by a calculation, okay, that they extrapolate. It's amazing. I've gone to help people protest their taxes, and the program that they have, man, it's awesome. I wish we had that. Yes, you are right. BBB. All right, 53. Anybody who just came on board, we're doing national questions, applies to all 50 states. What is the term used to describe a situation where a mortgage balance decreases due to periodic installments that pay down the principal and the interest? A, adjustable rate mortgage, B, amortization, C, lock-in period, or D, fixed rate mortgage? The answer was 52B, Lisbeth. Let's see, where are you? Okay, you're on Facebook. Yeah, I typed it, 52B. So there we go, 52B. Okay, that was for the prior question, tax assessor. So remember to type the question number and the letter answer when participating. So number 53, okay, is amortization. Okay, amortization. Maybe I should type also the answer. Okay, so 53B, amortization. Okay, because it is amortized. Okay, periodic installments. Every single month, they're paying the principal and the interest. The principal starts to increase the amount that applies to their loan, and the interest starts to get smaller. Hi, Sandy. And so, you know, it starts out with the interest being higher at the beginning of the loan, especially now with interest rates at 5.5 to 6.5. And then as the years go by, then the amount that goes from the payment to principal starts to go greater. So the principal gets larger, you know, that it goes towards their balance, and the interest gets smaller, the amount of interest. And so it is a fixed rate mortgage, okay, but the term that is used is amortization. So this is a scheduling of monthly mortgage payments, and there are actually mortgage calculators that are free that I use. So when you're paying a mortgage, right, you're paying principal and interest. That payment never changes. The reason why, if you had a loan and yours changes, it's because of the taxes and the insurance. But the principal and the interest typically do not change on a fixed rate mortgage. And they're amortized for 30 years. If it's a 30-year loan, if it's a 15-year loan, it's amortized for 15 years, meaning it'll be paid off in 15 years if you stay there till the end. So I wrote down 53, amortization. Okay, number 54. What is an annual tax levied on the value of real property? A, capital gains taxes. B, real estate tax. C, progressive tax, or D, regressive tax? What is the annual tax levied on the value of real property? No, it is not capital gains. Okay, gains means somebody that is having to pay profit taxes on profit that they made. That's not what the question is. It's annual tax levy. So tax that we have to pay, and those are called real estate taxes. So that's what the county assessor comes up with, right? That's an official of the county tax assessor department. So that's what they call, So that's what they call the ad valorem tax, okay, on the value of a property. And it's not the current market value. It's a value that the counter assessor comes up with, and then they apply any deductions, okay, like homestead or, any exemptions of person 65 or older. So it is levied annually on real estate by the government authority, and it's every county, okay? The government authority of that county. It goes by county, not by state. Got it? Got it? Okay, 55. So go back, study vocabulary. What is the name given to a situation where an individual uses borrowed money to purchase property? A, buy down, B, purchase money, C, leverage, or D, shorting? So put yourself in into an investor mindset if you wanted to buy property. No, it is not B. Using other people's money allows us to leverage the ability to purchase. Yes, it may seem purchase money, but no, that's different. So it is 55C, leverage. So when we use borrowed money to purchase property, we are using leverage. We're leveraging money available by the hard money lender or private investor that loans money. Oops. 56. So y'all got that? All right, 56. Which air conditioning system facilitates both heating and cooling? A, forced air system, B, cooling system, C, heating system, or D, thermostat? Vocabulary. And these are national questions, but you also get vocabulary in, no. It says, which air-conditioned system facilitates both heating and cooling? Not just cooling. No, not the thermostat. The thermostat allows you to adjust the temperature. But it says which air conditioning system? Thermostat is not a system. It's either A, B, or C. It is a forced air system. A forced air system has a forced air unit inside that circulates, the air through the vents in the house, through the ducting. And then it has a condenser compressor outside, or a heat exchange unit outside, depending on, what area of the country you are. The systems are a little bit different. Hi, Noemi. Noemi. So it's a forced air system. So one key word was conditioning system. So thermostat, no, that's not a system. That's a tool on the wall to adjust the temperature that you want. And since it has both heating and cooling, it's called a forced air system. Got it? Got it? All right, number 57. Feel like I'm playing bingo. But we're not, right? Almost seems that way. What is the waiting time for a real estate agent to renew a license once it is revoked? A, 2 months, B, 1 year, C, 5 years, or D, it is never reinstated. So when we answer this one, I'm going to say something about the previous one. So 57 is B. Gee, where did I type it? It is 1 year. Oh my gosh, I typed 58. Dang it. 57B, 1 year. So 57B, it is 1 year. When a license is revoked, they have to wait 1 year. Okay, on the previous question, okay, a forced areas unit, you'll see it abbreviated as HVAC. Okay. Heating, oops, hold on. Where is it here? A system that makes use of air ducts, heating, ventilation, air conditioning. Okay. So it has air ducts right inside the vents to release the temperature controlled air into the building, into the home. A forced air unit system releases filtered and dehumidified cold air into buildings and runs at an affordable price. A central air system, on the other hand, uses vents in the forced air system to provide cool and conditioned air. So central heating, ventilating, air conditioning system. So forced air unit versus central air unit. But those provide both heating and air. I mean, heating and cooling. Okay. So I saw those that on the answers. So 57 was B. For those, when I typed 58B, disregard that. That was wrong. It was a typo. All right, number 58. Who manages a co-op? Cooperative, right? A, board of directors. B, CEO. C, co-op developers. Or D, tenants. Who manages a cooperative? Pay attention to the answers, okay? Okay, it's not D, okay? So I'll go back to your comment, Kevin, in a moment. Yes, Cindy, 57A, board of directors, an HOA, okay, at a big subdivision or a condominium. It's an alternative method to traditional housing. A board of directors is elected by the shareholders to run the cooperation. So that's on the HOA, and the members, okay, that own a house or property, they elect individuals that they want to be board of directors. They're responsible for voting and doing background checks on potential new shareholders in the corporation. They are also responsible for upholding the value and regulations of the co-op and terminating tenancy of individuals found to be acting contrary to the rules. So that's in a co-op. So answer was 58A. Okay, so on the heating HVAC system, hold on here. I had a comment. So Kevin here says, this is Kevin. Okay, he's on Facebook. Kevin said he saw that exam, that on the state exam. So although some of these questions are national, okay, they could have something similar on state exams. Okay, number 59. All right. And I believe he's talking about the Texas state exam. Hey, Kevin, you can go to StreamYard. Hold on. StreamYard.com/Facebook and give StreamYard permission to show your name on StreamYard, because I'm using StreamYard to stream to 3 different places. Okay, so you can go to this website and it takes just a moment. Just type it in and you'll get to click yes, give it permission, because Facebook is very protective of sharing names, on other places. So it's got to give answers permission for that. All right, number 59, Lisbeth was ahead of us. What is the value estimating process that uses similar available properties to determine the value of land? A, mirror method. B, sales comparison method. C, allocation method. D, abstraction method. Value estimating process that uses similar available properties. Well, the answer says here, this is a method of estimating the value of a piece of land. Okay, so what did it say? Value of land that is based on the going price of similar parcels of land within the area. They call it abstraction method. Wow. I would have said sales comparison message, but it would be not just sales comparison method. We have the comparable market analysis, right? And that would be on sold properties to compare. So it could be just the fact of the correct term being used. But here the answer says abstraction method. This is a method of estimating the value of a piece of land that is based on the going price of similar parcel of land within the area. Okay, you and I both would have been wrong, because I would have chosen B, sales comparison method. However, the comparable market analysis uses sold properties. And there's also what is called a competitive market analysis, okay? And that one has actives and pendings. So we actually want, a correct name. So abstraction. It's not your normal piece of property, a home that can be easily evaluated. So 59D. So just out of curiosity, I am going to look up abstraction method, because sometimes last week I noticed the book had some wrong answers. Abstraction method. So I'm typing up. Okay, so I'm going to, here is abstraction method. I Googled it. It says abstraction method. The abstraction method, also called the extraction method, uses comparable sales to estimate the value of land by subtracting the building value from the total sale price. Estimate the depreciated value of the improvements. So in other words, if there's a building with land, but we don't have land pricing, then they have to separate the land and the property, the building, the improvement, and calculate the value. So abstraction, they're abstracting, right, the value of the development, the improvement from the land. So the answer here doesn't say, exactly that. So when in doubt, okay, I haven't seen that question before. So that's why, I buy new books and we review new questions. So old books, new books, are very good. So 59D. That got us all, right? Yes, that got us all. All right, number 60. Who is required to sign a deed in a real estate transaction? Okay, think about this. Who is selling? A, attorney, B, buyer, C, grantor, or D, lender? Who signs the deed, the warranty deed, when selling a property, a real estate transaction? The answer here, very good. The answer is grantor. C, it is the grantor who signs the warranty deed. Okay, that is an always, okay? Grantor. All right, 61. What is a poisonous gas that comes from the breakdown of minerals in soil? A, ammonia, B, chlorine, C, helium, or D, radon? Vocabulary again. Actually, the prior one was also vocabulary, abstraction method. And don't expect to see everything that you study on there, and expect to see things that you probably studied and don't remember. So there is no crystal ball, all right? So yes, the answer is radon. It comes from the ground. And there are individuals, licensed individuals, that can go into the house and test for radon and treat that. It comes from the earth. So here it told you poisonous gas from the minerals. And where are the minerals? In soil. Hi, Rosaura. All right, number 62. What are the rights of a person whose property is adjacent to or crossed by a river? A, exclusive right to sell, B, riparian rights, C, rights of first refusal, or D, rights of disclosure. So the rights of a person whose property is adjacent, next to, or crossed by a river, a river. Wow, look at this. Kevin said that question we just did for the radon, that was on his national exam. So he's already mentioned a couple of them that he saw on here that were either on the national or the state. So some of them will be similar or identical. Others will not. No, y'all, it is not D. It is B, riparian, right? River, R, river, riparian, flowing, flowing, flowing. Okay. If it was adjacent to a lake, littoral, still. Okay. But a river is flowing. So that, rights. So another one was also on the national exam. Oh, was that the same question? Wow. Thank you for sharing all that, Kevin. That's good, because that lets others know. Okay. No, it's not a right of disclosure. Okay. It is water rights, rights of a person whose property is adjacent to a river or crossed by a river. If they have rights of riparian, rights of a river. Vocabulary, y'all. And people don't watch, the vocabulary videos as much. And this is letting you know that it's important that we do study vocabulary, okay? It really is very, very crucial. You're learning a new language, all right? You need to understand the meaning of these words in a new industry of real estate. You think you know it, but not. You think you only can study questions, but no. And don't expect to know everything when you finally start doing real estate. All right, number 63. So 62 was B, riparian rights along the river. 63. What law requires full disclosure of all credit terms for consumer loans under the Truth in Lending Act? A, American with Disabilities Act. B, Civil Rights Act. C, Fair Housing Act. Or is D, Regulation Z? We just talked about Disabilities Act, Civil Rights Act, Fair Housing Act. So it can't be any of those, right? Truth in Lending. Regulation Z. It is D, Regulation Z. That was 63B. Oh man, look at that. I forgot to type the answer number in one of the questions. So we started with 41. Okay, so. All right, so how did everybody do? Oh boy, Fair Housing Act, no, 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 no. Truth in Lending, Truth in Lending. Fair Housing Act protects us 7 classes of people. Okay, so there's no discrimination. So 43 was D. And I'm correcting myself, okay, to type the question and the answer number. Typo. Again, vocabulary. Am I a broken record now? Vocabulary, vocabulary, vocabulary. You got it? Okay, you got it, vocabulary? You got it. All right. 64. What is the name given to granting priority to an individual to buy or lease a property? A, bundle of rights. B, exclusive right to sell. C, right of first refusal. Or D, right of possession. A name given to granting priority, okay? Priority to an individual to buy or lease a property. So they're given first priority to make an offer. Kevin's got it. Yeah, vocabulary. More vocabulary here, okay? Yes, right of refusal. You can tell me I'm a broken record, okay, or I'm being pushy or whatever. But you know what? I'm here to help you prepare to pass. I want you to pass. Somebody said one day that, yeah, there goes the boss again, bossy, 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 or something like that. And that's all right. Okay, you don't have to like me. I'm just here to help you prepare to pass your exam. You got it, Sandy. Vocabulary, vocabulary. All right, 65. What is the loss of property value caused by economic or functional factors? A, economic obsolescence. D, depreciation. C, legal obsolescence. Or D, aesthetic obsolescence. Property value, loss of property value caused by economic or functional factors. There's 3 different types of obsolescence, right? So what is the loss, okay, of property value caused by economic or functional factors? What is that called? Here we go again. Look at that. Gosh, Kevin, thank you so much for letting us all know that you remember seeing these questions, okay, on the national exam and some on the state. I appreciate you. That's Kevin Barron, the Baron, right? So it is economic obsolescence, okay, is the answer, A. So this is the decrease in market value of a property due to external factors, okay? A waste property coming next to it, a trash property, commercial property, or, you know, an airport coming close by. No matter what you do, the economic, the environment obsolescence is going to cause the property to depreciate. Those external factors that cannot be controlled by the property owner, okay? i.e. building of an interstate highway, okay, close to a prime property, to value immediately decrease due to the noise pollution. All right, all those are factors that we as a property owner cannot control. It can also be functional factors, right? And that is actually functional obsolescence, but they didn't mention it. There's physical obsolescence, functional obsolescence, and economic/external obsolescence. Okay, actually they call it economic environmental obsolescence. So those are the three different types of obsolescence. Okay, go back to vocabulary again. Okay, we started with question 41. So we've done 25 national questions, right? Yes. All right, we're going to move on to state question, Texas state questions. Any questions on the national? And Kevin, thank you so much. Take a break right now for, you know, going to StreamYard.com/Facebook and give StreamYard permission to post your name on here so that we don't see you as Facebook, but we see you like Manera or Sandy or Lisbeth. The only reason I know your name is because I have 3 monitors open and I have my Facebook page open. And so I can see you there and I post the answers on there. Okay, so I'm going to change books. I'm going to go to the library. And I buy these books at Amazon. Okay, except for the real old one. That one was free online. Let me see, which one is the next book that I'm using? Okay, where are you? So now I'm going to I'll show you in a minute which book I'm going to. So anybody just came in, we just got finished with national questions. We did 25. So you can go to the replay and watch those from the beginning. And now I'm going into the Texas Real Estate License Exam Prep book and doing the final exam that had some state questions. Okay, so yeah, okay. So this is the book that I'm continuing now for Texas state questions. So let's see here. Question, yes, I need help with the state questions. Yeah, so we're doing that next, and let's see how many we end up having here. But I need to prepare my resources here. So bear with me and give me a moment. Go get a glass of water, stand up. Okay, stand up and stretch as I prepare for the state, Texas state questions. Sorry, I tried doing the StreamYard, but I can't log in. You don't have to log in. It's not a login situation, just StreamYard.com/Facebook. There's no logging in. So page 301. If that's okay, you can continue on Facebook. All right. Well, this didn't do what I wanted it to do. To the page number. It's supposed to be page 301. Come on. Go, go, go. There we go. That's much better. Okay, so anybody watching the replay, just fast forward now. You know, I have to transition from one book to another and accommodate you. So hi, Everton. Let's see, West Pyatt is asking me to log in. Ooh, that's interesting. It shouldn't, unless you're not logged into Facebook. But I see you on Facebook, so that's okay. All right. So I'm pressing the wrong things here. All right. So this is Wild Lillie Handy from YouTube by YouTube Agent Prep and Facebook Agent Prep. Okay, I've been doing this for about 9 years on in person at an office, then to Facebook, and then I started YouTube Agent Prep to help you pass your exam, prepare to pass your exams, national and Texas, and I'll hopefully start doing some other states also, and then preparing some other videos to help you get your business started. Because I tell you what, it's not what you expect. Okay, it's going to be a lot of work. It's your business. Okay, it's not a career. Nobody's going to show you everything. You have to put a lot of work into it. All right, so anybody who hasn't been to my YouTube channel, hey, please go over to YouTube Agent Prep, tap that subscribe button. All right. And click the little link bell, ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling, okay, to get notified anytime I go live, and you're going to be the first one to get notified. You know, you got to click it to all so you get all notifications, and put a thumbs up for this video if you find it useful to helping you prepare for your exam. Any support that you give me helps me with YouTube promoting my channel. All right. And motivates me to create a lot more videos for you. All right. Hey, I love doing this. I've been doing it for 6 or 7 years, but I've been trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. Okay. And right now, okay, we're taking a break. Okay. Right now, I'm at 874. I didn't quite make it by the end of June. So let me show you the screen. Okay, so I made it to 874, okay, or something like that by the end of June, or 870. My hopes had been to hit 1,000 because that's what my grandson told me that I was going to do. So this is my YouTube channel. Okay, so look at this. You got to get your mindset. So I'm giving you a little mindset in between the national and state. Be a fearless lion. Have a fearless attitude and fly like an eagle. All right. Fly like an eagle and have a fearless attitude, because that's what you need in order to reach your dreams and make it in whatever business you want, because this is your business, not a career. Okay. All right. So let's see. I got some comments on here. Let's see the comment. What days are you on and what time? Go to the message on YouTube and you'll see I go online Wednesday nights at 6 and Saturday mornings at 10 o'clock. Okay, been doing it for years, but not on YouTube. I just started in November of 2020. Hey, Denise. Hey, you know what? Guess what? Denise knows my niece. What a shock. Yes, I remember you, Denise. Says, I've known your niece, Melissa Dominguez, for years. Yeah, I love her dearly. Awesome young lady. I even trained her when she was running for Miss Texas. Used to get her up early. See, do you do any Florida real estate questions yet? Not yet, but Florida, California, or 2 states that I am going to get books for. So that, because those states I've had more demands. Jolene or Jaylene loves my videos. Awesome, awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I love doing this. And then hear me roar. You got it. Yeah, roar, right? So the Bible, if anybody is a Christian, okay, the Bible has 2 animals that are kings. The king of the land is the lion. The king of the sky is the eagle. I'm the king of me, right? And of my business. And that's what you want to be. All right, enough. Let's get going here. State questions for Texas. Thank you for all the questions. Thank you for participating. Awesome. I love it. So we're starting out with, what did I say? 96. And it's going to turn out to be a little small because it's a long question. I'll tell you what, when I used to take exams, sometimes I would skip the long questions to do them later. And let's see, Denise says, she told me, I told her you are awesome. Aw, thank you, thank you. Jaylene says, yes, awesome, amen. And then Kevin Barron said, I'm a police officer, McAllen, Texas. Yoo-hoo! Yeah, my hometown grounds, right, in Mercedes. I'm a Rio Grande Valley girl, but I left when I was 18, came back. I still have a house in Mercedes. I'm getting ready to retire and jump into real estate. Need help passing this state exam. Awesome, Kevin. And hey, when you pass, let's talk about eXp Realty. We're an online company, virtual company with lots of opportunity. And you're going to learn it on the job of your business. All right. Number 96, Texas state questions. Take your national hat off, put your Texas state hat on. What is the essential purpose of Texas homestead laws? A, to give families a tax break on portions of the value of their principal residence. B, to protect a family's residence from the unilateral conveyance of one party or a forced sale to collect a debt. C, to give a family immunity from the collection of debts. Or D, to prevent husbands from gambling away all interest in the property. Jingle, jingle, jingle. You got my money. So type your answer in the chat. What is the Texas homestead law for? Man, I got a family that loves to gamble. Me, I'm like, man, I work hard for the money. I want more money. I want the passive income, multiple streams of income. All right, so I've got 96B. Yes, you are all correct. 96B, right? To protect a family's residence from the unilateral conveyance by one party or a forced sale to collect a debt. So a homestead owned by a husband and wife, right? Both have to agree. And if they're a single person with a homestead, then they cannot, the collectors cannot collect a debt like credit card companies, department store companies, property taxes. Yes. Mortgage companies. Yes. They can still come after you. All right. So that was B. Very good. So nothing is absolute except for 100% veteran that doesn't have to pay taxes. They're 100% disabled. Then they don't have to pay property taxes. That's about the one of the absolutes. Oh. All right, 97, another long question. Deceptive trade practices, as codified in the Deceptive Trade Practices Act, are strictly prohibited in real estate practice. Now, 3 of the following instances are examples, but 1 is acceptable. Which one is it? So 3 are examples, 1 is acceptable. Which one is it? A, telling a buyer that a property's price has been drastically reduced. B, bragging about a warranty that doesn't apply to a given claim. C, disparaging competitors with non-factual innuendos. Or D, telling a buyer that an air conditioner will easily last another 5 years. Which one is it? Okay, prohibited, strictly prohibited Deceptive Trade Practices Act. Which one of those 4 is prohibited? Or one of them is acceptable, sorry. So 3 are, following instances are examples. And then it says deceptive trade practices as codified in deceptive trade are strictly prohibited in real estate. But 1 is acceptable. Which one is it? The answer is A, telling a buyer that a property price has been drastically reduced. That is acceptable. Bragging about a warranty that doesn't apply to given claims, can't do that. Disparaging competitors with non-factual innuendos, can't do that. Telling a buyer that an air conditioner will last another 5 years, who the heck are we to say that? Is that our expertise? No. Okay, so we don't state things that we are not an expert at. So the answer here was A, right? Telling a buyer that a property price has been drastically reduced. And right now we have started seeing lots of price reductions. Why? Because the market has changed to a buyer's market. At least it's going in that direction. So interest rates went up. Therefore, buyers can't qualify for a loan. Or they decide, well, we're going to wait to see if the market changes again. Well, the market changes every 7 to 10 years. This time around, it took 10 years for it to change. Last time it happened that it started going up was like in 2011. Oh, shoot. Gosh, come on. Come on. All right, there's 98. So did you all get that? All right, 98. Hi, Rachel. Rachel McNair is here. In essence, the statute of frauds, okay, frauds, right? Statute of frauds, laws, states which are the following. A, to be enforceable, all contracts must be in writing. B, conveyance contracts and leases must be in writing to be enforceable. C, conveyance contracts and leases exceeding 1 year must be in writing to be enforceable. D, both oral and written conveyance contracts are enforceable unless fraudulent. Statute of frauds. What does the Texas law specify in order for a contract to be enforceable? Wow. Okay. So A is not correct. And why? Because of that little word that says all. Okay. So all contracts, leases are also considered contracts, right? And leases, it has to be 1 year or more. It has to be in writing. All right. So conveyances and leases must be in writing to be enforceable. C, conveyance contracts and leases exceeding 1 year must be in writing to be enforceable. Both oral and written conveyance contract are enforceable. So D is not correct. A is not correct. Leaves us B and C, conveyance of contracts. So they must be exceeding 1 year. The only one that has a clue of an exact answer is the fact that it says leases exceeding 1 year must be in writing to be enforceable. That one is the correct answer. 98C. So conveyance contracts, right? They're being transferred, transfer a contract to another person. It says 1 year must be in writing to be enforceable. So it says here, remember the simple rule: conveyances and leases longer than a year must be written. So I would have thought conveyances of contracts, okay, it can be any kind of conveyance contract. However, the other ones do not meet it, okay? Conveyance contract and leases must be in writing. No, statute of fraud that leases has to be 1 year or greater. So that one is the only one. Even if I didn't know conveyance contracts, C says leases exceeding 1 year must be in writing. So that one is the correct answer. 98C. So what did we have? 98B. Oh, 99. We're not there yet. But you did a typo like I did. 98. No, all contracts must be in writing. That is not correct. Leases are considered contracts. Okay, 99. Gosh, I'm like in the middle here. Probably not going to work. No, okay. I'm going to have to minimize this screen to try to get it all on one page. $99 is a long one. Yep, it's a long one. All right. Okay, got it. Yes. A leasing company representing the landlord takes and processes apartments, applications and charges applicants a fee for their subsequent screening work. To conduct this business properly, which of the following must occur? Okay, so which one must occur? That's kind of an absolute. A, the landlord must disclose that the deposit will be returned if the application is rejected. B, the tenant must acknowledge that he or she has been informed of the selection criteria and the grounds for denial. C, prospective tenants who have paid a fee must be processed within a 48-hour period. Or D, application fees must be applied to the rent if the applicant is accepted. So to leasing companies presenting landlord, okay, takes and processes apartment application and charges fees for credit checks or screen checks. So which of the following must occur? Type your answer in the chatty chat. I'm going to get up for a moment, drink some water, and open the kitty door. Kitty, 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 kitty. Kitty, kitty, kitty. Kitty, door open. Oh man, I got to stretch my legs here. I'm getting tire marks, seat marks, right? All right, 99B. I'm sorry, 99B is the correct answer. Hey, look at that. Kevin is really helping us a lot tonight. I really appreciate your participation, Kevin. So this one was also on the exam. So 99 is B. The tenant must acknowledge that he or she has been informed of the selection criteria and the grounds for denial. Okay, every place that you go rent, well, almost every place, if it's a property management company, a leasing management company, they're going to let you know that, oh, you need 3 times the rent as far as income. You need to prove that you've got W-2s or 2 years of tax returns. You have to have a certain credit score. If you have a pet, it has to be a certain size. They give you a lot of criteria. And the credit check fees and all that is not refundable. It's expensive now to well, not just now, okay, to rent properties. However, with the interest rates having gone up to 6.5, and then they went down to a little bit below 5. And so more individuals are probably going to rent. All right, number 100. And I tell you what, you all, I recommend that when you're practicing questions like we are today, shoot to get 100% score, not just 70 or 80. When I was studying years ago, and I've studied for 3 different states, and on 2 states I failed it by 1, I had to repeat it. I would practice the questions until I would get 100 on them. It took me a long time, but I focus every day studying every single day and practice. How do they say practice makes perfect? We don't necessarily need to be perfect. We don't want to be perfect. We want to, on the sample test, get 100 so that you have a better idea of being able to pass it at the exam. Number 100, one of the most important foundations in landlord-tenant relations is the concept of habitability. What does habitability mean? Vocabulary. The concept of habitability in landlord-tenant relations generally holds that A, repairs affecting habitability must be made within 48 hours time period, 48-hour time period from the tenant's notice. B, residential landlords must, at their expense, maintain the rental premises in such a condition that the health and safety of the tenant is not adversely affected in any material way. C, the tenant must maintain habitability of the premises as it existed upon taking occupancy. Or D, the tenant is responsible for repairs inside of the premises while the landlord is responsible for habitability of the overall property. So there are tenant laws, tenant landlord laws in every state. Every state is different. No, it is not C. The tenant is not responsible for maintaining habitability. That is an owner's responsibility. They have to provide a unit, a property that has, heating, water, electricity. In Texas, it's not required that we provide air conditioning. However, because they could have ceiling fans and wall air conditioning. So the answer here is 100B. Residential landlords must, at their expense, maintain the rental premises in such a condition that the health and safety of the tenant is not adversely affected in any material way. They could have mold, they could have, insects, termites, ants, rats, rodents. Landlord is responsible for all that. And the tenant is responsible for informing the landlord of anything that's not working, and the landlord has to respond promptly and urgent with certain of the items. I learned from my own experience of having a rental here in Texas that we don't have to provide cooling. There are ceiling fans. They can put a wall AC. And tenants try to start threatening you, right? Well, I look up the tenant landlord laws, right? There's a lot of shitty landlords out there, but I'm not one of them, even though I have been called that. Okay, so that was, let's see, that was the last state question on this exam. Bummer. Okay. I've run out of books for state questions here. Hold on. Let me see if I can get another book. Actually, I'm going to doors, how to practice scripts and how to do like that. I was listening to an EXP realtor that created a book today. And she's talking about a lot of students or beginning realtors expect, the world is going to be easy when they start real estate. This in 3 different markets, and I have to start over each time, learn new courses, learn new material, learn new markets, do different techniques, okay, in order to get your business going. Do you hear the words? It's your business, it's your company. It's not the broker's company. They all want you there. They're going to bug you. They're going to call you. They're going to recruit you. They're going to text you. They're going to, be on you as soon as you pass. Why? Because they want to earn money from you going out to do sales. Okay, that's what these brokers do. And getting a broker license doesn't give you freedom and independence or more money. No, you could become broke. Okay, once you become a broker after 4 years. So you need to realize that you're getting into a business, an entrepreneurship where you've got to create your own business. You've got to attempt different things, talking to people. Nobody's going to tell you exactly how to talk to people, what exact word. Yes, there are scripts that we get, but you've got to practice them. If they promise that they're going to be hand-holding you, they're going to be going to all the appointments, they're going to be doing this, they're going to be paying you this, they're going to be giving you leads. No, you're going to be getting your own business. You might get some referrals here or there, okay? But don't expect to be given anything. It's a lot of hard work. That's why about 75 to 80% of beginners drop out, okay, after their first 6 months, first year, or before the renewal. Because every January 1st, we've got to pay in the state of Texas $405, well, in the area that I'm at in San Antonio. Okay, just to be a realtor, okay, we've got to pay $405 to be in San Antonio Board of Realtors. Somewhat similar in the Rio Grande Valley, McAllen. I belong to 2 different boards. All right. And I have learned the business on my own. Okay. We don't learn it from books. What you learned in school, what you learned in books, in the exams, it's just to understand what real estate is like and to learn the terms, okay, and the technology that you're going to have. Some little agencies, they're not going to have websites to give you, leads to give you, lots of training and education and technology. So it depends on what is it that you want. Do you want to work your ass off? Because that's what it's going to take. You got to dream big, have a vision, okay? Dream big. Ignore all the naysayers that are going to think, oh, you can't make it in this business. You know what? You can make it if you want it and you work your ass off and you go out there and you do it. You generate your own business. You go talk to people. If you're afraid of talking to people, then you better start practicing scripts, making cold calls, knocking on doors, unless there are other ways. There's a lot of different ways to generate business in real estate. Don't expect to be taught everything. You've got to teach it to yourself by watching other people that have done it, listening to their videos, reading their books. I'm learning every day, okay, about something in real estate, how I can improve it, how I can do it better, okay? And so please don't go into it with the expectation that you're going to be given stuff, because you're not, all right? You may get a referral here or there, but whenever we get a referral, we pay a referral fee, 25%, 30%, but it's better than nothing, okay? And don't complain about, oh man, I'm paying 30%. Oh man, I'm paying 50%. Well, what are you doing to get your own business? It could be 100% that you're going to have to invest in order to get that business. But if somebody else gives you a lead, go work it. Go do it. Okay. It's not an easy business. It can be, but there's a lot of marketing that takes getting up, having a schedule, doing it every day. Okay. Making your dreams happen, juggling different schedules, family, children, work. It's not all a big fancy dream. It can become that, and it not happens overnight. What you work on here today, you may get paid 3 months later, 6 months later. In commercial real estate, it could take a year to 2 years, 3 years to get money. In residential real estate, you start talking to people now, and then it could take 30 days, 60 days, 90 days before you help a buyer find a house that they want to make an offer now. And you better find out that they are pre-approved, okay, that they qualify to buy, because a lot of them are going to use you to go looky-loos. Hey, I'm on vacation. I'm going to call this realtor to go show me houses, right? Well, I'm here, and the realtor says, yeah, man, I want a buyer. I want to write a lead. They're going to buy. A lot of times they use us. We have to set the grounds, the boundaries, and train the public that we are professionals. We get paid 100% on commission. All right. So please really research this business. Talk to a lot of other realtors, not just beginning realtors, and find out what it really takes. Because I'll tell you, 75 to 80% drop out within the first year. It's reality. So are you going to be the 20% that succeeds? Then, like I do in here, practice, 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 questions, 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 and vocabulary. But that's only to help you pass the exam. Now, once you pass your exam, you got to start a lot of other things, establishing your foundation, doing the priority things that are going to help you start talking to people and getting yourself out there and not being a secret agent. Okay. And letting the world know, hey, I'm Wow Lillie Handyman. I do real estate in this market and that market, and I'm here to help you. But first, I better educate myself and know how to do it. And how does a child walk? They crawl, right? And they fall, and they crawl, and they fall. They stand, and they fall, and they stand again, and they fall. Stand, stand, fall, fall, until they finally walk. That's what you're going to be doing once you start real estate. So here is Kevin says, a question about veterans keeps coming up, and I don't know the answer. Do you know any sample questions? I think it's how veterans qualify for a Texas loan. Oh, first they have to apply with the Veteran Administration, department, and get a certificate of qualification that they qualify to get a loan. Once they have that, then they go to a lender to apply for a VA loan. Cindy, I ran out of state questions. I'm sorry, I didn't prepare enough for that. And, I've run out of books, and there's not a lot of books out there that do just state questions. Okay. So I'm having to be resourceful. So what I was going to do is go back to this one here. Let's see, page 29. And do a few out of this old book. If you all going to still hang around, I can do a few of them. So this particular book, the 2006 book that I mentioned to you all over and over, and the series 1 to 24 goes through these questions. The first 80 are national questions, okay? The last 30 are state. One thing that I like about this book, you see this section here? At the end of each exam, it itemizes all the questions in that exam. Okay, so it has the different exam questions that you have that are broken down in the true exam, all right? They're in different categories. Champion has an awesome book, and Pearson. Online, you can download something by Pearson that tells you exactly the categories that you're going to have questions on. So this book does that. And then it refers to, property ownership covers these particular questions. If that's your weakness, go study these particular questions, okay? And if you have a weakness in law agency, go practice these questions. In all 4 exams, this exists. If you have a weakness in contract documents, transfer of property, go to those particular questions. It is an awesome book. Okay, so let's do a few out of this book. Oh, these are the answers. Sorry. So, shoot. 52. Okay, so the actual 29. And then let me go down to question 80. Okay, so let's do a few little state questions now that I talked your head off about telling you what the real world might be like. I have more to share, but I'm going to have to create some other videos. Okay, so Kevin, I hope that I answered your question about VA. They do have to get a certificate of qualification from the Veterans Administration. And once they have that, then they can go to a lender, any lender, bank, preferably a mortgage broker, because they deal with a lot more banks, and apply for a VA loan. Okay, so. Okay, there. I'm sorry, today I am a little bit poorly prepared, so my apologies, okay? I get to screw up once in a while, all right? And it's on YouTube. Okay, so, oh my gosh. I'm struggling here with my PDF documents and oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I don't want to find that. Gosh, if you guys hang in there with me, I'm proud of you. All right. Because I'm really screwing up here. And, you know, if we're going to do it, hey, let's do it with some friends. Because I consider this a two-way street. I help you, you help me. Okay. And it's a two-way street here for everybody. When you get into the real world, you're going to be helping other people, and other people hopefully are going to be helping you. But don't have expectations of having a lot of people do things and give you things. You have to do it, and you have to ask lots and lots of questions. All right? And I mean that. This is a world of asking questions. Okay, this book has a few outdated questions, but not many. So starting from question 81 becomes state questions in this book. Okay, which of the following is the Texas Real Estate Commission not empowered to do? A, suspend or revoke. Oh, hold on. Which of the following is the Texas Real Estate Commission not empowered to do? A, suspend or revoke the license of a broker found guilty of giving legal advice. B, make a payment from the recovery fund to pay the legal fees of a salesperson that was found to be innocent. C, contract with a natural firm to write and administer an exam to determine competency of a licensee applicant, or D, publish forms for mandatory use by those to whom it issues a broker or salesperson license. Let me see if I can enlarge that. So type your answer in the chat. If you're still here. So the answer for number 81 is make a payment from the recovery fund to pay the legal fees of a salesperson that was found to be innocent. TREC does not use the recovery fund to pay for fees of salespeople that were innocent. It pays for damages, liquidated damages of a civilian or somebody that complained that won. And then the salesperson or broker has to pay back the recovery fund. Okay. So the answer is 81B. All right, 82. Pamela, who lives in a suburb in which many homes are rented, decides to open a rental agency in order to assist her friends in finding suitable renters. Pamela's conduct is what? A, acceptable because it is relatively small in scope. B, acceptable because it involved only Pamela's friends. C, unacceptable because it involves an activity for which a real estate license is required. Or D, unacceptable unless she makes a voluntary contribution to the recovery fund. Really? Oh, recovery account. So she lives in a suburb with many homes to rent, decides to open a rental agency. So does she need to be a broker? So it is unacceptable, C, because it involves an activity for which a real estate license is required. And it doesn't say that Pamela is licensed. Oh, so 81, I didn't type the answer, did I? 81 was B. So 82, right, is C. It's unacceptable. Okay, thank you all for hanging in there. But I'm glad that I hope I gave you a little bit of vision of what the real world is going to be like, and to know that this is your business. All right, 83. So 82 was C. A hairdresser told the broker about a client who was looking for a new house. The broker contacted the hairdresser's client and sold him a home. May the broker pay the hairdresser for the lead? A, absolutely not. Not. B, yes, but not more than $50. Or C, a gift with a value of not more than $50 may be given. Or D, only a thank you notice permitted. So what exactly can we give? We can give a referral, right? But it has to be what? To somebody that is unlicensed. That is correct. It has to be a gift, okay, of $50 or less. And it has to be in the form of a department store or a gift that you gave them that is valued at $50 or less. It cannot be a Visa card, MasterCard, or cash, or a check. Okay, it has to be a gift. So that state question is still the same. That one has not changed. Number 84. According to the provisions of Real Estate License Act known as TRELA, which of the following must be included in every listing agreement or buyer representation agreement? A, the marital status of the sellers or the buyers. B, the geographic market area of representation. C, a termination date that is not subject to prior notice. Or D, a proposed sales price and description of settlement costs. TRELA, Texas Real Estate License Act. Which one must be included in every agreement or buyer representation? All right, so I have 84C, no, 84D, D. No, actually, the answer is every contract has to have a starting, a termination date. So a termination date that is not subject to prior notice, 84C is the correct answer. Contracts have to have a start date, that is the date of execution, and an end date, the date of termination. And in a closing, when is the date of termination? When it closes, right? That's when it ends. That's when the agency relationship ends. The only thing that doesn't end is confidentiality, right? All right, number 85. What state agency is responsible for licensing and regulating professional real estate inspectors and their apprentice inspectors? A, Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation. B, the Texas Real Estate Commission, known as TREC. C, the Texas Real Estate Inspectors Agency, or the Texas Attorney General's Office. Right, the answer here is TREC, right? TREC licenses inspectors. It licenses real estate agents, inspectors, brokers, easement individuals, right-of-way and easement persons, and property management, right? So the answer is 85B. The Texas Real Estate Commission, that's who licenses real estate inspectors. The same company that licenses us as realtors, sales agents, or brokers. Oh, that one's a long one. All right, 86. Okay, so some of you answered A. Yeah, no, it's TREC. TREC licenses inspectors, sales agents, brokers, right-of-way easements, property managers. 86. Upon obtaining a seller's signature on a listing agreement, the broker or salesperson is obligated to do what? A, advertise the property in local paper or on the broker's website. We used to do a lot of that, right? B, set up listing file and obtain identification number from the broker's preferred title company. C, cooperate with other brokers in the area who might have a ready, willing, and able buyer for the property. Or D, provide the seller with a copy of the agreement that is legible, true, signed, and correct. Signed, sealed, and delivered. Right? Signed, sealed, and delivered. But, you know, the priority here of what we're supposed to do. A lot of the others are correct, but there's one best correct answer. Upon the seller's signature on a listing agreement, We must deliver a legible, true, and signed and correct listing agreement. And now we can email it. Okay. There are a few sellers and buyers that still do not use the internet. And so those individuals, they either come to the office. In our case, where we are in a virtual company, we can meet with them at a public location and or go to their home. Okay, we still do house calls. Ha ha ha. Right? House calls. How many companies do that? Not a whole lot. Well, a lot of service people, right? For all of our appliance and everything. And we pay for the service call. When we meet our clients, we don't charge for a service call. We get paid when the transaction is closed or consummated. And if the seller walks away, they owe us a commission. Okay. 87. For a document to be legible for recording at the county courthouse, the document must be A, drafted by a Texas licensed attorney, B, witnessed by two persons with legal capacity, C, in English and acknowledged in the presence of a public official, or D, in any language, as long as it is witnessed by two lawful citizens and is notarized. Yes, 87C. C, we. Oh man, I forgot to write 86. Was 86D and 87C. Okay, let's see here. Do you come live every Wednesday at the same time? Yes, I do, Jaylene. Every Wednesday at 6 o'clock. Sometimes it's for 1 hour. Sometimes it's for 2 hours. Sometimes it goes over. It depends on if somebody wants me to stay a little longer. Sometimes I do. Okay, so 86 was D and 87 was C. Not 787. So, hey, I do typos too, okay? So, excuse me. So, number 88. And keep in mind that all of these are recorded. So, they are on YouTube Agent Prep channel. So, if you haven't been there, please go there and tap the subscribe button. 88. And they're also on our Facebook private group and the business page for Agent Prep. I'm Agent Prep everywhere, okay, in all the different social media. Well, except for TikTok, I don't think I have one there yet. This is so helpful. Thank you so much. And I apologize for today's screw up on not having enough state questions. So I have to ad lib sometimes, right? And tell you a little bit about the real world. 88, the rules of the Texas Real Estate Commission prohibit a licensee from creating language and entering it in contract forms that define the legal rights and remedies of the parties. Which of the following would be acceptable language to enter in special provisions, right? Section 13, paragraph of the Texas Real Estate Commission promulgated contract form. A, this transaction is contingent upon the sale of purchaser's present home. B, buyer reserves the right to terminate this contract for any reason within 8 days of the effective date. C, buyer will do a walkthrough inspection during the 4 hours immediately preceding the closing. Or D, this contract is contingent upon satisfactory appraisal and the amount of the sale price. So remember, the contract has a lot of verbiage that covers all those topics except for one. So there are also addendums, and sometimes they are not there either, that cover certain things. And we only write on special provisions, instructions that, right, we get from the buyer or the seller. It's not comments that we decide, it's our opinion to write on there. Because remember, the contract is between a buyer and the seller, not between us and a seller. Between us and a buyer, between the buyer and the seller. We're there to complete all the blanks, ask all the questions, and fill in all the blanks. And that is correct. 88C, Lisbeth, Buyer will do a walkthrough inspection during the 4 hours immediately preceding closing. And it can be done 24 hours prior, 1 hour prior to closing, as long as they get to the closing date on time. And why is a final walkthrough done or specified on there? To make sure that everything that they saw when they wrote the offer and they went to preview is still there. Because sometimes sellers do remove things that shouldn't have been removed, like certain appliances or special chandeliers or trees and shrubs, and leave holes in the yard. Not acceptable, right? Those are things that go with the land, that go with the house, right? They're attached to the property. They are part of the property. All right, number 89. What term identifies a broker who has written authority to present both the buyer and the seller in a real estate transaction? Again, these are Texas state questions. Sometimes they do apply to other states. A, facilitator. B, mediator. C, intermediary. Or D, general agent. Yay, Lisbeth. Yes, 89C, intermediary. It's when the broker represents both sides, buyer and seller, but they cannot advise or give direction. They're there like a mediator. The buyer agent represents the buyer, okay, and gives them advice and direction, and the selling agent talks and deals with the seller. All transactions belong to the broker, right? And supposedly on the agreement, it says they assign us to it, but there are clients. That's just the way the legality goes. 90, what state law requires leases for more than 1 year to be reduced to writing and to include a legal description of the property to be occupied by the tenant? A, Truth in Lending Law. B, Hardness Tenants Act. C, Statute of Frauds. D, Sherman and Clayton Acts. We discussed this one a little bit earlier, right? That it said conveyance contracts and leases a year or more. It's what Statute of Frauds states. So the answer is correct. 90C. Statute of Frauds must be a year or more. '91. Oh my gosh, I put 2,550. All right, 200. Question 91. Okay, that's a long one. If I was taking the exam, I'd say, okay, I'm going to review that at the end after I answer all the other questions, because, you know, I used to be a slow reader. So you have a choice to do that at the exam. All right. Salesperson Judy Jones is employed by A to Z Realty Inc. Judy learns that A to Z broker of record missed her licensing renewal deadline. When Judy questioned the broker about this, the broker laughs and says, oh man, don't worry. There is always a grace period to renew. Really? Judy knows that this is not true, but decides not to say any more about it. Judy's conduct is not protecting herself. A, acceptable because she was following the advice of her broker. B, acceptable because the license at issue is not her own. C, unacceptable because upon expiration of her sponsoring broker's license, Judy's salesperson license is inactive. Or D, unacceptable because Judy, as a real estate licensee, must conduct an independent investigation as of any disputed fact. Really? So why do we hang our license under a broker? So we can practice real estate, right? So the answer is either C or D. So which one is it? It is C. It's unacceptable because the broker's license expired. Then all the salespeople under them expires too. And they cannot practice real estate. I don't care how many listings we have to immediately get another broker. All those listings go off the MLS. or if there was more than one broker, it goes under another broker, and that broker has to take responsibility. But on a small brokerage like this, and most brokers have one main broker, if they go unlicensed, everybody else goes unlicensed. There's no if and but. When you know you're right, go and open up your mouth and say so. Or call TREC, okay? Call the legal line. When in doubt, ask somebody else. And TREC would be the best place to ask. But 92, what must a broker do to comply with the Texas Real Estate License Act, known as TRELA, when placing a sign on a property offering it for sale? A, have written authorization from the owner of the property before placing the sign. Or B, have an exclusive agency listing agreement from the owner before placing the sign. C, identify the broker as the licensed agent on the sign. Or D, both A and C. So when you're going to put a sign on somebody's property, what do we need to have? Can we just go and do that anywhere? Man, that would be awesome, right? We'd get to promote ourselves big time, putting signs all over our city and monopolize our market or dominate our market. Well, not acceptable, right? So 92 is D, A and C. So have written authorization from the owner of the property before placing the sign. And C, identify the broker as a licensed agent on the sign. So whenever placing a sign on the property, on a property offering it for sale, we have to have the owner's authorization and display our broker's identification. Now, if we are the broker, welcome Deepak. If we're the broker, then, we don't have to do that. But if we're hanging our license at a broker, at a sponsor, we have to have their logo or their name on it, plus have permission from the owner. So the answer is 92D. And Ms. Beth, yes, A is correct. However, it also has to have identify the broker, okay, as the licensed agent on the sign. Number 93. Okay, here you're going to count your days. Use your knuckles to count the days. If the effective date on a contract was June 26, 2005, and it granted the buyer an option period of 8 days. On what date at midnight? Okay, today, so this is an outdated question. Today it ends at 5 p.m. Did the option period end? We don't have to stay up till midnight, okay? Who's going to be awake at midnight? Title companies, attorneys, or whoever we have to deal with? No, so it's 5 o'clock, just like all other businesses. A, July 4th, July 3rd, July 5th, or July 2nd. So June 26th, it's when it was executed. So 24 hours later is considered day one. So so from June 26th, it's 27, 28, 30, right? June has 30 days. And then January 1st, January 2nd, January 3rd, January 4th, January 5th is 8 days, right? No, I counted it wrong. So buyer has 26, so 27, 28, 29, 30, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 8 days, okay? Because June has 30 days, and then the first 4 days of July, that makes a total of 8 days. So July 4th is the correct answer. So if you counted July 2nd, not sure if you started counting 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 1, 2, 3. you would have counted the 3rd. So on the 2nd, it would have been, 7 days, but we don't count the 26th. We count 24 hours later, which would be the 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th, and then July 1st, July 2nd, July 3rd, and July 4th. That is 8 days. So at 5 p.m. on July 4th is the end of the option period. The buyer agent representing the buyer has to make sure that they have the answer from the buyer, whether they're continuing or not with the contract, and have enough time to inform the listing agent to have enough time to inform the seller agent. It's not just enough time to sell the listing agent. The seller has to be informed before 5 p.m. But in the past, it used to be midnight, okay? That we had until midnight to do that. Oh, shoot. I wrote, dang it. I wrote July 3rd, and that's wrong. I typed the wrong answer. It's 93A. Let's see. I'm trying to delete that comment. Oh, it won't let me delete it. Okay, anybody watching the replay, the answer is 93A, July 4th. So excuse that I mistyped. I gave you the right answer, but I typed the wrong answer. It happens, okay, like shit happens, all right? That's what one of my brothers always says. Oh, man, shit happens. And we're like, well, shit shouldn't happen, right? We should always know it. Are we perfect? No, we're not perfect, okay? So don't be so hard on yourself. Carry that monkey on your shoulders and blame yourself for everything. No, no, no. All right, 94. So 93 was A. Disregard that I typed 93B, please. It was July 4th. That's 8 days. Okay, 94. May a broker decide to offer cooperation with other brokers through subagency when placing a listing in the multiple listing system, MLS, of the local realtor association? A, yes, always. B, no, never. C, yes, but only when the broker feels that it is the client's best interest. Or D, yes, but only upon receiving written authorization from the client to do so. So do we go on feelings? And remember, yes, always, that says absolute, right? Not a whole lot of things are absolute. No, never, that's another absolute. So it's either C or D, but we don't go on feelings. We go on facts and agreements and approvals. So the answer here is 94D. Yes, but only upon receiving written authorization from the client to do so. Very good, Lisbeth and Jaylene. You all are diehard, but don't die hard on me, okay? No, no, no. I want y'all to pass and do real estate, especially you, Lisbeth. She's a faithful student of mine. I've known her for a long time. But you know what? Life happens. And sometimes we don't get it exactly when we want things done. So we continue until we succeed, right? All right, 95. Which of the following would be considered a part of community property owned by a married couple that are legal residents of the state of Texas? So in Texas, it's called what? Community property, not tenants by the entirety. We are community property owners. That's the type of ownership for husband and wife. So the following would be considered part of community property owned by a married couple that are legal residents of the state of Texas. A, to rent houses owned free and clear by the husband prior to marriage. B, the $200,000 settlement that the wife received from her employer's insurance company for an injury sustained last year at work. Or C, the interest income from the certificates of deposit owned by the wife and purchased with the proceeds of her personal injury settlement. Or D, a $500,000 inheritance received by the husband from the estate of his grandmother. Yeah, of his. So which of the following would be considered community property? A, B, C, or D? Houses owned before, money from a settlement from the wife's insurance, interest income from CDs, even though they're owned by the wife or the husband, or $500,000 inheritance. The key word here is interest income, because interest income is happening now. It is C, interest income from the certificates of deposit owned by the wife and purchased with the proceeds of her personal injury settlement. So the personal injury settlement was her money. Any inheritance is their money. It's not joint. Okay. Any houses owned prior are not joint. However, any interest, any income from rental, anything like that that is earned while they are married is considered joint income because it's happening now during the marriage. If they were in an LLC and they're not using joint money to do anything on it, repairs or whatever, then it belongs to the LLC, to the company, right? But the only one that qualifies here, because insurance settlements, inheritance belong to the individual, not to the marriage. Properties owned prior, free and clear, that are owned before marriage, they're owned by them. But if they do any repairs today, and they spend joint money on it, that percentage of that money they use would belong to both of those houses. If they have any CDs, any interest, any income from rental properties, that is considered income today. That belongs to both. Okay. So the answer here was 95C, the interest income, because that's happening today. Way to go, Deepak. All right, y'all. So that's enough national and state questions for now. And until next time, which will be Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. So remember that this is Wow Lillie Handy coming to you from San Antonio, Texas with YouTube Agent Prep on YouTube and Agent Prep on Facebook. These are videos recorded. You know, go to playlist number 2022 Q&A and playlist vocabulary and study those two playlists on those recordings, okay? You realize, those of you that were here for the beginning of the class, that vocabulary was crucial. All right, vocabulary. Okay, glossary, definitions. Please. Can't tell you enough. Learn those. It's important. It's at 10 o'clock on Saturday morning. And I usually put a reminder on YouTube. Well, no, not on YouTube. I mean, you'll see it when I post it, you know, that a class is going to go. I put it on Messenger. I put a reminder on Facebook. And you'll see a reminder that there's a video upcoming on YouTube also. And so I put these reminders like on that morning or the evening prior. Any questions before we call it a night about Texas state questions or national questions, or what happens after the heck you pass your exam? Okay. Because once you pass your exam, oh my God, you're going to get a lot of freaking calls and emails if you're not getting them already. Jaylene, thank you so much. Lisbeth, bye. Have a great weekend. And what time again? Saturday at 10 o'clock and Wednesdays at 6 o'clock. And I think next time, y'all, I'm going to do vocabulary. Okay. So, but I have a whole playlist. Okay. There's a playlist, vocabulary. So go watch that playlist. And then there's a playlist of 2022 that has, you know, that one book that we just saw right now. And then I started another series. So it's a series. I go from question number 1 through 4 exams. Okay. 80 questions. on the 2022 Q&A series. And then I do the 30 state questions on 4 exams. Okay. For the 4 exams, there's 30 questions. And then I started another book for national and state questions. So I keep buying books, and some of these I have to repeat them. Okay. And make sure that we understand them, read the questions carefully, read the answers carefully, and look at those little bitty keywords. Okay, it could be one word that'll trigger it to be correct or trigger it to be wrong. And remember, skip the first 5 questions and the math of each exam and take those at the end, because those are designed to get you nervous and screw up. They're usually the hardest. So you can click them for review or write them down on the sheet of paper that you are able to have, that you've got to come back and do those. So do it. Okay. It's helped a lot of students. These books that I review have helped a lot of students. You're only going to pass if you practice every single day. More and more, my students tell me the way that I did it, the way that I passed, like I did, was study every day, practice questions until I did them over and over until I got 100% in every practice exam, every practice test. I took so many of them. And I was still scared and nervous, okay? I was still like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can pass this. Can I do it? I was scared. I was nervous. You know, I'm no different, okay? It happened to me too. I failed sometimes by 1, had to go back. Does that mean, oh man, I didn't make it, so I'm not meant to be a realtor? No, that's not the way it works. Persistent pace. Remember, babies walk because they stand up, they fall, stand up, they fall, they stand up and fall until they stand up and they stay up. Okay? So, hey, failure is part of succeeding. It's not failure. It's learning that we need to go back and study more. Because remember, we're dealing here with people's lives, people making a major expense in their life, whether it be at $50,000, $1 million, 500,000. We're all human. We're all individuals. We all need help, somebody to understand. So you're going to deal with a lot of personalities. Nobody's going to teach you how to deal with all these personalities. You're going to be a counselor, okay, a doctor, all kinds of things when you finally start doing real estate, all right? So I failed the first time. Hey, so did I, okay, in 2 or 3 different states. So no different. Oh, thank you. I'm so glad you found me too. And it says, sorry, the beginning was a mistake. Okay, I don't understand what you mean by sorry, the beginning was a mistake. So anyway, all these are recorded. So go back to the recordings, okay? Review the vocabulary playlist and the questions and answers. And there are other YouTube channels that will also help you. You've got to find the one that works for you. And remember, you're going to get calls after you pass as to who you're going to join. I'm a realtor. I'm looking for realtors to consider EXP and see if a virtual company is for you. We may not be, but we could be. Earn multiple streams of income, have a mentor assigned to you, and a sponsor. I'm also a certified mentor, and I help my own individuals that join me at EXP. All right. If no other questions, I don't see any other questions. So Jaylene, I'm not sure what you meant by sorry, the beginning was a mistake. So keep on trucking. Never give up. Never say never. All right. Until next time, y'all. Catch you later. Wow, Lillie Handy with YouTube Agent Prep, coming to you from San Antonio, Texas. Go to the YouTube channel, click that thumbs up. Okay, let me know that you enjoyed this and this is useful to you. Okay, if not, don't do a thumbs down. Okay, only a thumbs up. Click that little bell so you're the first to get notified, and tap that subscribe button. Help me get to 1,000 real soon. Until next time, catch you later. Bye.